Today we're gonna tie this little one. It's a little gamma fly, and it's nice to be back after a long week of work and be tying flies again. A couple of days ago I posted this one on Instagram, and I got some really nice feedback to it, and several of you have asked about a tutorial how to tie this. I made it for a photo contest on Instagram, but I just really like the looks of it and the natural materials that I have used. I don't know if it's in focus here again. Let's try. It has a back of some deer hair and antennas of deer hair and hair dubbing, and some legs from a tail of some gold pheasants. There's not much back here, but every leg is strands of this, and it's tied on a Ahrex fly size 8 in its 172, and has some rib in. It's a small copper wire, and what's the most important of this fly is a patch of deer hair, body deer hair like this, with some long fibers, and you really like the long fibers if you want the back of this fly to be good for macro photography, because otherwise you're gonna stick out from the Scud bag. You can use whatever Scud bag you like if you just want to catch fish. I just like to try to use and challenge myself to use materials that I haven't used before. I came off the deer with the back of a deer hair a couple of years ago, but I haven't used it much because it's a pain in something to tie with, but you do a lot of things to make beautiful flies. And I'm gonna tie this unweighted, because as the ones that's following my channel knows that I like to tie unweighted flies. And you can of course add some weight to it if you like, and if you fish with the gamma flies in rivers and streams. Yes, I think that's enough for now. I'm gonna guide you through the steps, and if you have any questions, please comment down below, and I would be very glad if you would follow this channel and be ready for more fly tying tutorials. And I just love the feedback from you. I'm just sitting here in my room alone, so please reach out if you have any questions or anything you want to say about my fly tying. Yes, let's get to it. So here it is. It's primarily made of some hare's ears dubbing like this for some bugginess, just some natural hair's dub, not hare's ears but hair dub, and some body material from a deer with some quite long fibers. And yes, we have some ribbing. It's an wire small in copper. Yeah, and it's from a golden pheasant, some tail fibers for the legs. So yeah, let's get tying it. We're gonna start with making the first part of the tail antennas here with some long fibers from the deer hair, and we're gonna then get some hair dub on and tie in some sections with these legs, and then some antennas here in the front, and then we're gonna wrap the body towards the head of the fly. And the hook that we're gonna use, it's an Ahrex 172 size 8. Gonna turn it quite upwards here at the beginning. And I'm using a thread. It's a Veevus GSP 30 Didier. It's important that it's a thin thread that you use. Just need to get my bobbin ready. I just changed the spool because it was almost empty, so it's wrapped around here. Just one moment. Good, now we're ready. We're gonna secure the thread here and work our way quite long down the hook bend. Be sure that you have some nice strong wraps. And first we're gonna tie in the rib. It's this copper wire, and I've made it just a little knot so it doesn't slide when we are wrapping, and it's gonna be covered with dubbing afterwards, so it doesn't matter. Bulk, and then I'm tying it on the side and almost down to the bottom, the inner side of the hook bend. We're gonna leave it there, and now we're gonna use the tail fibers. It's the antennae, and we want quite long fibers, so I've got the longest here, and by doing it several times then you can get only the long fibers, and it's important to make a good back on this fly. And we have a bunch here. I think that's fine. Maybe I'm using quite more strands here on the back of the fly because we're going to use it for the Scud back, and maybe some less in the front antennas. But we're gonna get a couple of wraps here, some loose wraps first, and then we can just not too much pressure, just make sure that you're on the top of the hook like this, and we're going to use this for the back of the fly. So make sure that you have like just one tying point, and actually we're ready for some head up now. I've taken out of the back, so you make sure that you get the fibers you want, and make a little dubbing noodle here. And we have to make sure that when we get back to the tying point, then it's not too much materials down there, like one wrap, then we can go upwards again. And we are now soon ready for the first pair of legs, and I've prepared them before. So we have two here, two strands, and we're gonna tie them in. You can't see that much when normally I get the vise up here, but we'll try to put it this way. Couple of loose turns. Make sure that they are on your underside, and you can manipulate them to the length that you want. I think that's fine. And then you can just rip them off. So this is how you tie the body part of it. Just try to get some good taper on the Scud with more materials in the midsection. And I like to get it a bit buggy. You can use some fiber dubbing as well if you want some more clean look. A couple of loose turns, get it on the other underside, and then you can get the length that you want. I think that's fine. Wrap it upwards. And now we're ready to change how we have the hook in the vise. Great. And a section more. This is a mix of some other patterns that I've seen online, but I haven't seen a Scud like this before. Just let me know if you have seen it before, then I would really like to see it. And a couple of legs again. And you can get it a bit longer here in the midsection of the fly. When it comes to fishing, it doesn't matter these legs, it's just because I think that it looks really nice, especially on the macro lens. A section more. Soon we're gonna think about making the front antennas, because we have to have some space to tie them in. A couple of loose turns, get it on the underside, then pull a bit. It's fine, secure. I'm definitely sure that it's not going to catch more fish than other Scuds, but this is the kind of tying that makes me love tying flies. Like this, a couple of loose turns. I think you got the idea. Remember to get the tying point close to where you have your dubbing before. It makes them stand out a bit more. Alright, let's get the antenna straight. And again, I have a bunch here of these small nippers. They are perfect for material clips, and get in the hair sticker. That's fine. And I don't need too many. I think that's fine. I like this patch of deer hair that I have here because it has some nice marking to it. and get it on top. Couple of loose turns, and then you can tighten it down. This is gonna be covered in hair dubbing as well, so that's fine. And some more dubbing. Let's see if I have it in focus. I think it's all right. And as we are working our way to the front of the fly, we want like a millimeter or so here in the front, so we can get our Scud back. Tied in and covered again. Good. I think we are almost ready now. Remember to get a little knot here in the front so it doesn't go anywhere, this thread. Now comes the trickiest part. It's because we want to tie in these materials on top, as long as we make some wraps here with our wire. First, I like to get a couple of turns here in the back. I don't know if I can show this on the video because my fingers are all over, I think. Like 2 or 3 turns. Again, this is just for the look of it. Alright, now we're gonna take like 1 wrap at a time with the Scud back. Make sure that it's on top and then hold it straight with your fingers upwards and then make a turn. And the tricky part about especially this fly is because I've tied in these legs and I have to make sure that they doesn't get caught in the wraps. Just forget those legs if you want an easier fly to tie. And I like to get the wire underneath. You can pull it forwards, and then when you go over the top, then you can have a more straight turn, so it makes a beautiful section. And now again with the legs it's a bit messy. Maybe I can get 1 turn before I tie in the legs. Like this, pull forward and then hold the fibers and then make a section. Take your doubling needle to make sure you doesn't wrap your legs where you don't want them. And I didn't get it here, but you can get a bit longer between the section on top. It looks really nice. I have quite small section here on this fly. Great. And because you want the long fibers from the deer is because if they're too short, they're gonna stick out here on the top. So when you're at the fly tying shop, make sure that you get a patch with long hairs, because otherwise this is almost an impossible job. But again, the fish don't care. It will just make it a bit buggier, which I haven't seen that as a bad thing ever. And a couple of turns here in the front. And for the next part, you see why it's important to get a what's it called, a thin thread. For this part, I'm gonna just put my hackle plier on the wire because it had some weight, but because I have to make the head of the fly. And underneath the back we have the front antennas, but we're gonna get up and then tie it down with a couple of wraps. And now you need a small pointy scissor because we want to cut that close to the tying point. And then we can get a couple of wraps with the thread and leave the thread in front here. Make sure don't use too much pressure because otherwise these antennas will rise up. Then we take our hackle plier, and as on the bottom or in the back of the fly, we're gonna make a couple of turns, like maybe 4 if you have done 3 in the back. I think that's fine. And just secure it with a couple of wraps, and this is why you want a thin thread, because then we can get it almost impossible to see. Then helicopter it away, and a couple of overhand knots. And then we are good to go. And the rest is just cosmetic. But I like to... No fish will ever see this, but I will and you will, because I have a macro lens. But you can get the thread dyed here with a little marker, and I see that I have caught some legs here. if you have better time for it, you can make sure that they don't get caught in the rib. Then you can take your tweezer or something just to make them a bit more leggier. And if you want to make a photo shoot of this, I try to get away some of the fibers that are trapped here in the back and on the back to get like a smooth, clean look. And you can also use some to make it a bit more durable. Just put a couple of drops of thin UV resin here on top. It's gonna change the color a bit, but it makes it much more durable than this. I just really like the look of it, and I can see I could get maybe one more turn here in the front with the wire when I'm seeing it here on my monitor, but I think you get the point of it. And just take you can take your nail and make it a bit more curvy, these antennas. Yeah, I think we're there. I hope you are satisfied with this tutorial, and of course you can use a couple more minutes to make it a bit more clean. But this is how I tie this one that I have shown you on my Instagram profile here for a couple of days ago. If you have any questions about the materials that I use, or any question on how I'm tying it, then please feel free to contact me. You can write down below in the comments or reach out for me on Instagram. So yeah, see you in the next tying video, and I'm looking forward to see what that's gonna be. Tight lines.